It is the Friday night sports show, and it is time for Wimmera football. And Scotty Stewart, he's locked down again. Poor old fella can't get to work these days. How are you, Scotty?
Yeah, I'm going all right, thanks, Wayne. Yeah, no, a bit disappointing though with the news that we are in lockdown again. So number 6.
No doubt about it. It's a tough one for everyone and tough for people, the Warwick Herald included, and us here at the Flow. But we're still bringing you media coverage. It's what we have to do. And talking about the lockdown, it is a very interesting scenario, Scotty, for the remainder of the season. We're going to take a look at it after we look at last week's games as to what could unfold as administrators do Zoom meetings and everything else through the week to sort it out. Round 15 played last weekend, no crowds, and that is something after the 2 weeks beforehand where the lockdown occurred. They did play last week, which was great to see, Scotty.
Yeah, it was. It's we got 1 weekend weekend of sports for. So what was that, the first one in 3 weeks, wasn't it? I think we had 2 weeks off before that, and then we have 1. So it's not a real good ratio at the moment. We had 2 off and 1 on, and then we're off again, and who knows what's going to happen the following week with announcements, with cases and et cetera, et cetera. But it's really hard to fathom at the moment. With Victoria here, we have a as they call it, a donut day. 1 day, and then all of a sudden there's some cases and we're in lockdown for 7 days. So it makes it really hard. But last week, we did get on the park, and that was good for all concerned there.
It certainly was, and good for your blokes. You were in the timekeeper's box down there at Dimmy Oval, and it was an absolute beauty. 17-14 to Dimmy over the Warwick Eagles 12-13. But I was actually following this match through the day, thanks to the Warwick Eagles people that put up the details for us. And I saw that the Eagles were really in with a chance in this game.
It was one of those days that everything sort of clicked for the Eagles. They they've had a battle all year, fair enough, with their team, but they put a pretty good side on the park last week, and it just sort of showed that they can put some pretty good football together. But they really did have one of those a good game. And, this match, you said you saw a bit of it online, and it was a really good match. It started with a little bit of drizzly rain, but it was just the free flowing game. You look through the scores there, and there's 8 goals kicked in the first quarter. That was a real entertaining game, but then Buller got a bit of a break in that second quarter, and they kicked the first or the third, and you're sitting there watching it, and you sort of thought, maybe the floodgates about to open. But anyway, the Eagles bounced back, and they kicked the next 4 goals in a row and put themselves in front about halfway through that third quarter, and she was game on. But the rain sort of heavens opened up a bit more in that last quarter, and not that they really affected the game. It was still a nice free-flowing game, but Dimmy, they just showed the bigger bodies and more mature bodies, and were able to kick those 5 goals in the last quarter and come away with that 30-odd point win. But really good effort, and real good game by all players concerned on that one.
Yeah, wet weather football, but 29 goals kicked. It just shows you that it can be done. Stewart with 3, very good football, this kid, and Mackenzie and Wilson both with 2. It was R. Morrow, D. Stewart, R. Mackenzie, D. Power, D. Bell, and C. Penny for the Warwick Eagles. Dimmy Walters 4, Cree, Lant and Lant 3 and 2, and Polak 2, and Cree, Rosier and Graham were in the better players on the day. Other senior football matches, and it was the Southern Mallee Giants in an absolute dogfight over Horsham in a 6-10, 46-4, 10-34 win. The Giants got it done, but it was in tough, wet, muddy and slog conditions.
Apparently so, yeah. It was interesting to hear that score line and the conditions of Horsham went through, because we were sitting at Timboola, we're only 30-odd k's away from each other, and we had rain from maybe from half time, but it sounds like Horsham, they got wet the whole game through. But bit of a dogfight, as you said there, with the scoring. 10 goals kicked for the day, but the Giants were able to hold on and get that 2-goal win. And by reports, Coleman's led his team pretty well up there on City Oval, and bagged a couple and put in a pretty good performance. So good for the Giants. They moved into second spot with that win. So you think now they should tie up a top three finish for finals.
Yeah, given that we don't think there's going to be too many matches left in the season, you'd think so. Minyip Matoa certainly top of the table, 10-12-72 over Stawell, 5-6-36 down at Central Park. And Minyip Matoa have beaten Stawell comfortably in both games, so there's clearly a lot of distance between the Boroughs and the Warriors.
Seems that way, doesn't it? They must have a little bit of the wood over them at the moment, and Stawell they split the run with that loss to the Boroughs last weekend. But look, the Boroughs, they just continue on, don't they? They come up against all these all-comers at the moment, and they're just brushing them aside. And last week was probably no exception. You look at the goal kickers, which you'll read out soon, with Kieran Delahunty and Braden Nyson, and they've shared 7 goals between them. So take a fair bit of stopping those big lads, and the Stawell boys obviously had a bit of a battle trying to do that last weekend.
They certainly did. McIntyre, Morgan, Petering, Kay Delahunty, the better players for Minyip Matoa. While in the final match, it was an upset. Ararat 9-6-60, Horsham Saints 7-5-47 at Coghlan. It was again tough for conditions and a great win by Ararat.
Didn't see that one coming, I don't think, with the Rats. It's interesting. Once you did see the final result, well, you think I think the first time they played each other early in the year, the Rats got owned by about 3 or 4 points as well. So they're enjoying their time against the Saints this season with the 2 wins now, and probably obviously it's not going to lift the Rats into that top 5, but it did have a bit of some ramifications for the Saints lads who dropped to 5th position on the ladder there. So it must have been a fairly handy hit out there. The Rats held the Saints scoreless in that last quarter, so and they've only kicked 1 goal. So as you said, their conditions would have been pretty dour by that stage, I'd imagine. But the Rats would have been celebrating long and hard after that one for sure.
I reckon so. In the reserve grade, the Warwick Eagles were no match for Dimmy. Your lads got nailed after an 8-goal first quarter in what would have been pretty exciting stuff for the Dimmy people, but not for your fellas. But in the end, a good fight back, but got nailed in the end, 19-7 to 7-5.
Yeah, they did, and it was a bit of a barrage in that first quarter there, 8 goals to 1, and you sort of thought, gee, this could blow way out on this one. But as I said, the Eagles boys, they got themselves going in that second half, and they had 6 goals. So basically, after half time, it was 7 goals to 6, and in a pretty even affair. But Dimmy put it away pretty early on that one. I
tell you what, the 17-year-old age group, the Warwick Eagles won it, but 7 and 8 were playing each other on the ladder, and this was an absolute beauty of a match because it ended up that your lads got home in 10-12-72 to 10-5-65.
Yeah, they worked pretty hard early in the game, and it was one of those matches where the young fellas who have been doubling up and playing some under-17s footy, like a half of footy, and then they prepare for the senior game later on, and that's just the way it panned out. The Eagles boys got away and set up a pretty good lead, and by 3/4 time, they held it pretty comfortable. Just over 4 goals, I think it was. But the Dimmy lads in that last quarter, they've come back pretty hard, but just fell short by 7 points. But yeah, she was a pretty exciting sort of finish at the end, that one.
Certainly was. Kositsky and Mackenzie and D. Penny were the goal kickers in the match. It was a really, really good game of football by the kids, and great to see. And in the earlier grade, in the 14-year-olds, and we knew that there was a fairly evenly matched set of sides across the day, and it was a win to Warwick Eagles 10-4 to Dimby 3-4.
Yeah, they kept on there with their record, the Warwick Eagles boys, and sitting in second spot there at the moment. So they're going well. There would have been an interesting battle this weekend with the young just Eagles fellows coming up against Horsham Saints, who are in third spot, and it would have been a good indication as to see how things would have been panning out behind Ararat, who are a clear leader in that under-14 grade. But the kids, they put up another good showing. They got the best of the conditions throughout the day, and they made the most of it there with bagging those 10 goals for the day, and I see young McGregor's kicked another 6 goals, so it'd be interesting to see a leading goal kicker list in the under 14s, because he'd have a fair few and be right up the top there, I reckon.
Yeah, doing a great job. Kobe McGregor leads the goals with 37 for the season, and is going wonderfully. He's well in front of our Rats Wilbur Shea with 23, so it looks like he's got the goal kicking one, is young Kobe McGregor. I'll just say one thing about that though. He did not get picked in the best players after he kicked 6 of 10 goals. Forwards just are not getting the best players what they should be deserving.
Exactly, I do for that now. Yeah, you're exactly right. So a lazy 6, I would say, by the looks of it.
Yeah, Corp, also Pollack, Keane, George, Stein and Taylor for the Warwick Eagles. Okay, scenario time. We have 3 rounds of footy left. We've lost this weekend. We've lost again the round of matches that we lost in the first lockdown, so they will not get to play each other, those sides.
That's it, yeah. That's the way it's worked out, isn't it? This whole round. Correspondingly, in the first half of the year was the first of the lockdowns, and not played. And yeah, again, and there was a couple of good games that were going to be contested this weekend. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to find out how they would have panned out. And I think the one we were talking about mainly was the Southern Valley Giants and the Dendula game, where second versus fourth, and would have been a great hit out just to as it would have been in the first round, just to see how they match up against each other and how they were going to be going with finals. And us being 3 games away from finals, it would have been a really good indicator. But unfortunately, as we know now, we're not going to get to see that, and everyone's going to have to sit back and cool the heels for another weekend.
Certainly will. Round 17 and round 18 would be thereafter, and it would appear because you've got a 9-team competition in the top 5 and the number of games you have to play, you've virtually got to keep playing out the program until you get to play, because of the bye round situation that everyone that it may have had a bye, or if the whole association's had a bye, it does get really confusing. So I'm sure administrators are just going to have to play out each round until they get to it, and we'll see who makes the finals at the end of the season. But it may be that it's going to get called where it is, just depending on where this lockdown does go. Administrators, I'm sure, will be on the Zoom meeting, Scotty, this week. I'm sure that we'll find out, and we'll let everyone know about it through the Warwick Herald and here on The Flow. We do thank you for joining us on the Footy Report.
Yeah, no worries. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that.